Good day, especially to Sir Kenneth Paeldon. We will present about control structure repetition. This chapter is learn about looping control structures. Explore how to construct and use count-controlled, Sentinel-controlled, flag-controlled, and EOF-controlled repetition structures. It also examine break and continue statements. Discover how to form and use nested control structure. Why is repetition needed? Repetition is needed because there are many situations in which the same statements need to be executed several times. Like for example, formulas used to find average grades for students in a class. There are the three types of control structure repetitions. Number one is for loop, while loop, and do while loop.
The while looping repetition structure that you can see, this is the while looping repetition example.
Counter control while loop. Used when exact number of data or entry pieces is known general form.
Counter is equal to 0, semicolon. It's initialize the loop control variable. While open and close parentheses, counter is less than n is to test the loop control variable, and we put braces. Then counter plus plus semicolon is to update the loop control variable, and semicolon. Braces again.
Sentinel controlled while loop. Used when exact number of entry pieces is unknown but last entry, special, or sentinel value is unknown. General form. Input the first data item into variable to italicize the loop control variable. Then, while open and close parentheses variable not equal sentinel to test the loop control variable. Then, put braces. Input a data item into variable to update the loop control variable, then put braces.
Flag control while loop. It is the Boolean value used to control loop. General form. Found is equals false. Semicolon. It initialize the loop control variable. While open and close parentheses found, it tests the loop control variable. Open braces. If open and close parentheses logical expression find this equals true. Semicolon. It updates the loop control variable. Close bracket.
EOF, end of file, controlled while loop. Used when input is form files. Sentinel value is not always appropriate. In an EOF, controlled while loop that uses the scanner object console to input data. Console acts at the loop control variable. The method has next of the class scanner returns true if there is an input in the input stream, otherwise it returns false.
The expression console that has next, open and close parentheses, evaluates to true if there is an input in the input stream. Otherwise, it returns false. Expressions such as console.next int, open and close parentheses act as the loop condition. General form of the EOF controlled while loop that uses the scanner object console to input data is of the form. While open parentheses console that has next, open and close parentheses, open braces, get the next input and store it in an appropriate variable, process the data, close bracket. Programming example, Fibonacci number. Fibonacci formula for any Fibonacci sequence. A sub n is equals to A sub n minus 1 plus A sub n minus 2. Input. First two Fibonacci numbers in sequence. Position in sequence of desired Fibonacci number. Int previous 1 is equals to Fibonacci number 1. Int previous 2 is equals to Fibonacci number 2. Int 9 Fibonacci is equals to position of 9 Fibonacci number. Output 9 Fibonacci number.
Programming example, Fibonacci number. Solution. This that you can see, this is the example of the solution of Fibonacci number.
The for looping repetition structures. It is specialized form of a while loop, simplifies the writing of count-controlled loops, and this is the syntax of for looping repetition structures. For initial expression, semicolon, logical expression, semicolon, and update expression, open and close parentheses.
The for looping repetition structures continued. Example, the following for loop prints the first 10 non-negative integers.
The for looping structure is special execution. Initial statement executes. The loop condition is evaluated. If loop condition evaluates to true, execute for loop statement and execute update statement. Repeat until loop condition is false.
Programming example, classify numbers. Input n integers, positive, negative, and 0. And int n equals 20, semicolon, and easily modified. Output, number of zeros, number of even integers, number of odd integers.
Programming example, classify number solution. This is the solution of the classified number that you can see.
The do-while loop structure. Syntax, do. Follow the statement while open and close parentheses, logical expression, semicolon. Statements executed first, and then logical expression evaluated. Statements executed at least once and then continued if logical expression is true.
This is the do-while loop, post-test loop. Do-while loop, post-test loop. A do-while loop can be used for input validation. Suppose that a program prompts a user to enter a test score, which must be a greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 50. If the user enters a score less than 0 or greater than 50, the user should be prompted to re-enter the score. The following do-while loop can be used to accomplish this object.
Choosing the right looping structure. A tree loops have a place in Java if you know or the program can determine in advance the number of repetitions needed. The for loop is the correct choice. If you do not know and the program cannot determine in the advance the number of repetition needed and it could be 0, the while loop is the right choice. If you do not know and the program cannot determine in advance the number of repetitions needed and it is at least 1, the do while loop is the right choice.
Nested control structure provides new power, subtlety, and complexity. If else, and switch structures can be placed within while loops. For loops can be found within other for loops.
Nested control structure. This is the example of nested control structure that you can see. Chapter summary. Looping mechanisms, counter control while loop, sentinel control while loop, flag control while loop, EOF control while loop, for loop, and do while loop. Nested control structures.
Thank you for listening. Edited by Jubailyn Eroles. Cameraman, Villarey J.M. Presenters, Alvaran Marinel M. Avila, Rica May V. Buenafe, John Paul R. Caparas, Angela A.